I don't know what your oath is, but I'm assuming it's within that context. And I want to say on the ballot, I'm not sure on the ballot, but one thing, we do elect you guys as our representatives to make those decisions to protect our health and welfare and to, govern our community. So I guess we don't like how you do it, we get somebody else in there. But I'm not sure whether the ballot's the way to go or not. I think we still have a electoral process. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kermit.
Right now?
Yes, sir. You're the only hand up on that side, right?
Okay. Keep it off the ballot. Very simple. Just keep it off the ballot. Okay. Why don't you spend your energy more on infrastructure, jobs, protecting small businesses. The only thing we have in this county. I mean, we can coin the phase on this sewage thing. It's been 10 years. At a cost to the county of $10 million. Give or take. And so, but this at least you keep all that. But on the other hand now, if you want to control my gas and my property, I may be interested in selling my gas rates to the county. The same deal I sell to the gas company. If you're interested in controlling my gas rates. You want to buy my gas rates?
Why answer?
I don't know. I'm not going to be sold, but you can't be selling them. But I would be interested in selling the county my gas rates.
Well, thanks for the offer, Kermit. I'm not short on gas right now. Okay, thank you. Next side, was there a hand I can write down there? Yeah, I'll put you down. I'll put you back on there. You're behind, you can answer now, Beth?
My concern about putting it on the ballot is that probably most people in the county still don't really know what they're up against with this. I agree with Marty that people who are concerned about their property rights are also concerned about their water. But neighbors around me signed a lease that gives them absolutely no say over where the road would go, where the pad would go, or anything. If a driller comes, he can do what they want with their property. People who wrote into their lease protections about where the roads could go and how close it could be to their house and whether they could use their good hay field or the place where their kids were going to use as a house site a few years from now. That was really good, and everybody should have gotten a lawyer to do those kinds of things. And a suggestion that's been made is to have a workshop to help people with their leases so that they can protect themselves. But there isn't any protection now, and there certainly isn't anything in the state regulations about those things, those kinds of things. Even in David Kane's article, as generally knowledgeable as he is, there were some things like he said, that we should be concerned about where we place the wells. Well, unless we have zoning, we can't have any say in that. He also said the county should make sure that best practices are used. Well, that's regulating it, and that's up to the state. And that kind of regulation is explicitly preempted from local governments. Only the state can do that. The only legal authority that the county commission has, and it's in the West Virginia Code, is to pass ordinances to protect the public health and safety or to prohibit a nuisance. And Mr. Kane also said that, the gas drilling wasn't a nuisance, but he mentioned fumes and bad odors and things and rifle ranges. Well, if you don't think a well pad is a nuisance, you should go talk to somebody who lives near one. And the protection even that a landowner would put into their lease wouldn't protect their neighbors. I'm only 30 feet from the property line with my neighbor who leased. So a well pad could be, it used to be 200 feet from your house. Now it's 625 feet. But since a well pad can be 6 to 8 acres, that's over 200,000 square feet. So your house isn't going to be very, and that's not from the pad, that's from the well.
Right.
So your house can be right next to a well pad. And we're talking about hundreds of diesel tractor trailers in and out of the well pad. First doing all of the land removal, then bringing in the drilling equipment. They need a mile of pipe to go down and 2,000 feet out. The sections of pipe are 40 feet. So you're talking well over 2,000 sections of pipe for one well. And they drill, and there's all the noise from the diesel trucks, from the drilling, from the compressors and generators, loud noise. And it doesn't just go in the daytime, it goes all day and all night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the drilling goes on for weeks. Then they take the drill rig away and they bring in the fracking equipment. And that has a screaming mechanical noise that people who live near can't sleep. The fracking goes on for a while, and then it goes to another drill site, because they'll be drilling many wells in an area. They don't just drill one well, they put in a well field. The driller will come back, drill the second well. There may be lulls in between, then the fracking equipment will come back and frack that. Typical time of activity on a well pad in Wetzel County is 3 years, with various stages of the activity going on for weeks at a time. And there's lots of fumes. People who live really close get sick. They get headaches. Their kids get nosebleeds. They can't play outside. This has been actually a bigger issue with people who live in well development than the water, is the air quality. The air quality in a place in Wyoming where they have a whole well field is worse than Los Angeles. And these are not accidents. Yes, there can be accidents. There can be spills, explosions, blowouts. They happen. The percentage is 2 to 5% of the well activity, according to the statistics. So they may or may not happen. But the noise, the lights, the dust, all day and all night for months and months at a time with tractor trailers, hundreds per well. So with the field, you're talking of thousands of tractor trailers, and the diesel fumes from them is what you're going to have if you have drilling. And I don't think people really realize that. Unless you visited it or talked to somebody who lives with it, you don't know that.
Thank you, Pat. I would like to corroborate the 625 feet. The question about telling you what's not in the bill and what is. It does say in the bill that instead of 200 feet, the distance has been increased to 625 feet in the center of the well. And given the average well pad size, it is quite possible that the edge of the well pad can be between residents within 10, 20 feet. So that's technically correct. Okay, this side. Mr. Carpenter, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just one more quick question. We talked about putting on the ballot, I'm like, I don't want to put it on the ballot. But even if you do put it on the ballot, even if you do run all these surveys, and it all comes back to what are you going to do with it? You can't do anything. You asked, the question was asked a minute ago, why was it interested in talking like this? The question that you should get, well, do you want to do it or do you don't want to do it? What you should tell me is, really, I don't have any control over it. Because you absolutely do not have any control over it, in my opinion. But the county commission doesn't have control over it. Sure, you can go to Charleston and try to get the regulations upgraded, and I'd be all in favor of you spending some time on that. But I don't think you have any authority. Take these surveys, what are you going to do with them? Nothing, because you can't.
I'd like to address the regulations again, too. We worked for over 3 years at the legislature to get new regulations. The existing ones are from way back at a totally different level of gas drilling. Every year we came up with new regulations, and every year they didn't get anywhere. They stalled in committees or something. Why? Because there are over 30 lobbyists paid six-figure type salaries by the gas industry in Charleston all the time. They throw a $30,000 reception for the legislators at the beginning of the session, and they make huge campaign contributions. And it was the industry talking to the governor, who's got a lot of campaign donations from the industry, that ripped all that stuff out of the good compromise bill before it was submitted to the legislature. So that's what we're up against in getting decent regulation to protect ourselves.
Bought and paid for, just like coal.